People ask me, what is your book about? And I have troubles explaining what my book is about. I can't seem to come up with the right words that explains my book. I tell them somehow it seems like the world I see around me is a reflection of what I feel inside. And I sense they still don't get it. They're still confused. What do you mean, Thales? What do you mean? And the more I thought about it, the more clear it became to me how I could explain what the book was about. By using a mirror and my head. Let me explain. When I was a teenager, I would look in the mirror and I liked what I saw. I'd give it 2 thumbs up. I liked the reflection. I had hair. I used to apply gel on my hair, comb it. I was feeling good. My confidence level was up. My self-esteem was up. But as the years progressed, I noticed that my hair began to fall. And so did my self-esteem and confidence with it. So much that I thought about applying a special shampoo in the hopes that my hair would grow back. As you can tell, that didn't work. I looked in the mirror and I wasn't feeling good. I didn't like the reflection very much. In fact, I even considered getting a hair transplant. Yes, I actually visited a doctor and looked into getting a hair transplant. Luckily, I couldn't afford it. Fast forward, I look in the mirror now, and not only do I not see a bald man, I love what I see. So what changed? Absolutely nothing in the mirror, but everything inside. As Wayne Dyer said, if we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. That's worth repeating. If we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. But how? How can we change the way we look at things? It's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a bumpy road, a messy road that can take many years. But it's perhaps the most important journey we'll ever have to take. As the American Indians from the Sioux tribe would say, the most important journey we will ever have to take, and the longest one, is the one from our head to our heart. The longest journey from our head to our heart. What happens? Why take this journey? Eckhart Tolle, one of my favorite spiritual teachers, said, if we take care of the inside, if we get the inside right, the outside takes care of itself. I get goosebumps just imagining that because I know exactly what he meant. For me, it meant not just loving life, but being in love with life. It's as if I have a permanent affair with life around me. That's truly how I feel now. When did I realize something was going on? Something was different. I was perceiving the world around me differently. One of the moments was when I read a passage called The Silent Sermon. And the story goes when the Buddha held a flower to his monks. All monks were in utter silence. No one spoke a word. He just held it there for a long time as they gazed at the flower. And only one monk could be seen smiling. And that is the monk who understood the sermon. And for me, when I read that, I knew exactly what that meant. Because like him, I began seeing the divine in everything, everywhere, and in everyone. I'm going to share 3 things that fueled my journey from my head to my heart. They consist of gratitude. They consist of my sense of mortality. And third, a state of being present. And I'm going to share some nice stories about each one. As you know, as many of you know, I went to Brazil with the intention of spending just 10 days. I ended up spending 10 beautiful, marvelous years in Brazil. Brazil gave me my wife, my beautiful children, a job, but something else too, gratitude. Because as you know, there is extreme inequality in Brazil. The gap between the rich and poor is very, very high. And daily I would encounter men, women, and children begging for money. And yet, despite their circumstances, many of them could be seen smiling, laughing, dancing as Brazilians do. And I wondered, how can these people in the state they are feel life like that? So it taught me to appreciate, to be grateful for everything I had, no matter where I was, no matter what my circumstances were. That was one of many experiences regarding being grateful. Now moving on to mortality. I read a passage that kept on appearing over and over again, that somehow life would be wonderful if we died before we died and realized there was no death. I was confused. What does this mean, to die before you die? One day it clicked to me. A gentleman was in a freak car accident and he lost both his arms and his legs 13 years ago. And he said that if God came back offering his legs and arms back, he would say, "No, thank you. You can keep them." Why did he say that? Because he understood that he was much more than his body. He was much more than the way he looked. He was much more than the possessions he had. So this experience of death gives you a new zest on life, a new way of looking at life and appreciating what is truly important in life. Another story on mortality. I went to visit my mother and father in the cemetery to honor them. And that day was different because I paused and paid careful attention to the names and date of birth and departure of each soul among the many tombstones that I walked by. And I saw, for example, one soul that departed at the age of 60. I thought, wait a minute. I'm 53. That's 7 years from now. Then I saw others who didn't even make it to 53. That's when every cell in my body registered this briefness, this short trip that we're all on. It clicked for me more than ever before. As I walked away, I heard one tombstone whisper, "Hey you, Thales." I was caught off guard. Me? Yes, you. I leaned in. It said, "Where you are, I once was. Where I am, you will once be. You will be." I said, "Oh, okay, I respect that." I walked on a few more steps. This tombstone said, "Thales?" "Yes." I leaned in. Just love. Love one another. I'll try my best. I walked on. I was ready for the third one. It was bound to call my name again. I leaned in even before it called my name. Just be kind. Just be kind. I said, okay. Took another step. The next one said, "Take a deep breath." I took a deep breath, and as I exhaled, it said, "Don't worry, everything's gonna be all right." And when I stepped out of the cemetery, whoa, I was feeling alive, a burst of energy, zest. The sky seemed bluer, the trees seemed greener. I could hear the birds chirping. I felt alive. I knew life would never be the same after that encounter at the cemetery. Then, moving on to presence. What does this thing we always read about and hear about, being present, being here, being now? Well, a few things for me. It means slowing down a little, paying more attention, listening. When I was a student, I would collect quotes on happiness. And one of my favorite quotes was, "Happiness was like trying to chase a butterfly. You're running around, you can see it, but you can't quite catch it." That was what happiness meant. And guess what? Recently, a butterfly appeared in my garden. This is a true story, by the way. I stood on the veranda and would not chase happiness. Happiness would come to me because I would be still and I would be patient. So I grabbed my phone and I pointed my index finger to the sky. And by the way, I did call my wife and children to come and help. That didn't work out. 5 cats surrounded my legs. And I waited and waited as I felt this butterfly that was floating around the trees and the bushes would eventually come to land on my index finger. And guess what? After 5 minutes, it landed for a brief moment on my index finger. What a beautiful story. This signifies sometimes not to rush and chase and go and get. Just calm down a little bit, be patient, and magic will happen. Good things will happen in your life in due time. So, being grateful, my sense of mortality and being present were the fuel on my journey. From my head to my heart. I believe all of you, you're all on this journey. Some of you are just starting. Some of you haven't started yet. Some of you are very close, and I know who you are. Because, guess what? You are never alone, because you're the ones who are married to the universe and all that is life. And you, the closer you are to the heart, are never poor, because the heart offers a bounty of treasures no amount of money in the world can ever buy. And as I look at you all have something in common. Humanity. Your story is the story of the human condition, of struggle, of loss, a loss of a job, a loss of a partner and a spouse. You know who you are. And it would mean the world to me if somewhere in the book you see a little bit of yourself in there. One line, one passage, one story will resonate with you. That would mean so much to me. I'd like to end with a quote from Ram Dass, who said that at the end of the day, all we're just trying to do is walk each other home. Oh, that's so beautiful. Walk each other home together. We're in this together. And home, for me, is the heart. I want to thank you all for helping me on this journey to walk home. I couldn't have done it without you, and for that, I thank you all very, very much. Thank you.